Thank you, Senator Britt. You're so timely. Senator Booker.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Mr. Reitz, I want to pick up with a discussion that I found a little troubling. I'd love to go into it a little bit more with you. It just sounds like that you have been suggesting that government officials can ignore a court order if they disagree with it. You're pointing to some of the worst cases in our nation, like Korematsu. This would really create a constitutional crisis in this American context in which we're living right now if our courts impose injunctions that restrict or compel government action and then government officials go against that. To me, that's the very nature of what a constitutional crisis is. My staff pulled a tweet of yours that you compared the Dred Scott decision to the court's decision in same-sex marriages. And so I want to know, do you think public officials have it within their right, if they find it morally wrong, the Obergefell decision, to violate that court order or that court's conclusions?
Thank you, Senator Booker. So my position I've been consistent on, which is that parties to the litigation are bound by the lawful holdings of their respective court. I understand that there is genuine jurisprudential disagreement about the scope of certain holdings, whether they can apply nationally or to just litigants or other litigants. But I think that it is a fair discussion for attorneys in good faith to discuss the scope of a holding of a case.
I find academic discussions important in our national dialogue, but you're being nominated for a very important position. And my question to you, I guess, is very plain, is if you morally disagree with a court order, do you believe you can defy that court order, that the Trump administration, that the government, that you in your position can defy that court order?
Senator Booker, I appreciate the clarification. However, just a general reference in this hearing to a litigant morally disagreeing to the decision of a court, in my opinion, is too hypothetical for me to be able to answer with precision.
Do you understand that that is not a comfortable assurance for me when there is credible concerns about the Supreme Court making a decision as in Obergefell and having an administration that feels that it can defy that? You're not giving me great confidence by stating unequivocally that we are a nation that respects the separation of powers, the role of the courts. And far be it from me to lecture you, and I hope you don't take it that way, but the traditions of our country, if you disagree with a morally long law, the traditions we exalt, one of the two exceptions of statues underneath the dome of the Capitol is Martin Luther King, who was very clear about when you find a law morally wrong and you break that law, you accept the consequences of that, which is jail or removal from a position. I'm seeing right now good faith actors within government resigning from their position. That is a very different tradition, that vaunted tradition in our country, than a person in a position like you were nominated from, willfully disregarding a court order. That is in its very nature a constitutional crisis, and your failure in this forum to resolutely state your commitment to abide by court orders, I hope you can understand why that would be troubling to many of the senators before you. You understand that that's troubling?
I understand, Senator Booker, that that is a perspective that members of this body may have.
Very difficult for me to swallow that, and honestly, you send a chill to me and my concerns about the current administration. Ms. Dillon, I am happy to see you here because of the pride of your family behind you. You could see it written over their faces. I hope you understand that. They are, it's just extraordinary for me as an American to see you sitting here and your incredible family behind you. I have some very direct questions for you that I do not have time with because I fear the chairwoman, but I'm going to put them in writing, and they have to do with your knowledge of any plans to dismiss employees and a lot of the things were going on here that do rise concerns to me. So I'll put them in writing. Would you commit to responding to me?
Yes, Senator, I commit to responding to your questions.
Thank you very much, Madam
Thank
Chairwoman.
you, Senator Booker.
I
You
hope-
too are timely.
Thank you for the same kindness that you extend to me.